Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to oil painting, it can feel a little intimidating. All those tubes of paint, the different brushes, the smell of turpentine. Where do you even start? Well, don't worry, because today I'm breaking down 20 essential tips that every beginner needs to know. We'll cover everything from setting up your workspace to a step-by-step demonstration. By the end of this video, you'll have the confidence to create your very first oil masterpiece. First things first. Let's talk about your setup. Tip number 1. Ventilation is key. Oil paints and solvents release fumes. So make sure you're working in a well-ventilated space. Open a window or use a fan to keep the air circulating. It's a simple step, but it's super important for your health. Tip number 2. Invest in decent, but not overly expensive materials to start. You don't need the priciest professional grade paints when you're just learning. A good student grade set is perfect. The same goes for brushes. Get a small variety pack with a few different shapes and sizes. A flat, a round, and a filbert will get you a long way. Tip number 3. Prepare your surface. Most store-bought canvases come pre-primed with gesso, but adding another layer or two can give you a much smoother surface to work on. Just apply a thin layer of acrylic gesso, let it dry, and maybe give it a light sanding for a super smooth finish. This will make the paint glide on beautifully. On to tip number 4. Understand your color palette. Don't feel like you need every color under the sun. A limited palette is actually your best friend as a beginner. Start with the basics. Titanium white, ivory black, cadmium yellow, cadmium red, and ultramarine blue. With these, you can mix a huge range of colors, and it will force you to learn color theory much faster. Tip number 5. Familiarize yourself with mediums. This is a game changer. Oil paint straight from the tube is thick, but you can change its consistency. Linseed oil is the most common medium. It makes the paint more fluid and increases drying time. Solvents, like turpentine or odorless mineral spirits, are used to thin the paint and clean your brushes. Speaking of which, tip number 6 is about cleaning those brushes. It's not the most glamorous part, but it's crucial for making your brushes last. First, wipe off as much excess paint as you can with a paper towel. Then, swish your brush in a jar of solvent. Have 2 jars, one for the initial dirty rinse, and a second for a cleaner rinse. Finally, wash them gently with soap and water. Reshape the bristles, and let them dry horizontally. Now for a fundamental rule of oil painting. Tip number 7. Fat over lean. This is probably the most important technical rule you'll learn. Fat refers to paint with a high oil content, and lean refers to paint with less oil or thinned with solvent. You always want to apply your fatter layers on top of your leaner layers. If you do it the other way around, the top layer will dry faster and crack over time. So, your initial underpainting should be lean, and your final layers should be fatter. Tip number 8. Work from dark to light. Unlike watercolor, where you preserve the white of the paper, with oils, you typically establish your darkest values first and build up to the highlights. It's much easier to layer a light color on top of a dark one than the other way around. Tip number 9. Don't be afraid to use a lot of paint. This is called impasto. One of the beautiful qualities of oil is its texture. While you don't want to waste paint, being too timid will result in flat, lifeless paintings. Load up that brush and let the texture work for you. Tip 10. Start with a toned ground. Painting on a stark white canvas can be really difficult because it's hard to judge your values and colors accurately. Try covering your canvas with a thin, neutral wash of color, like a light brown or gray, and let it dry before you start. This is called a toned ground, and it will help you harmonize your painting from the very beginning. Alright, that's our first 10 tips. We've covered setup, materials, and some core principles. Let's take a quick breather and then we'll dive into the next 10 tips and start a simple painting demonstration. ready for more. Let's go. Tip number 11. Sketch your composition first. You can use a light pencil or a thin down paint to block in the major shapes of your subject. This roadmap will save you a lot of headaches later on. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just a guide for where everything goes. Tip 12. Mix your colors on the palette, not the canvas. While sewing on canvas, blending is fine. You'll have much more control if you premix your main colors. Get a dedicated palette wood, glass, or even a disposable paper one and lay out your colors. Use a palette knife for mixing. It keeps your colors clean and saves your brushes from wear and tear. Tip 13. Understand drying times. Oil paints dry very slowly, sometimes taking days or even weeks to be touch dry. This is a huge advantage. It means you have plenty of time to blend colors and make changes, but it also means you need to be patient. Don't try to rush things. Tip 14. Paint in layers. Remember our fat over lean rule. This is where it comes into play. A typical process is to start with a thin underpainting to block in shapes and values. Once that's dry, you can start building up subsequent layers of color, adding more detail and texture as you go. Tip 15. Learn the alla prima or wet and wet technique. This is an alternative to layering. Alla prima means at first attempt, and it involves finishing your painting in a single session, applying wet paint on top of wet paint. It's a fantastic way to create fresh, spontaneous-looking work. Tip 16. Use different brush strokes for different effects. A flat brush is great for broad areas. A round brush is perfect for details. A filbert is a versatile mix of the two. Experiment. Dab, stroke, scumble, and blend. The way you apply the paint is just as important as the colors you choose. Now, for our little demonstration, let's paint a simple apple. I've toned my canvas with a light brown. First, I'm sketching the basic shape of the apple with some thin down burnt umber. See, just a circle with a little dip at the top. Next, tip 17. Block in your main colors and values. I'm using a mix of cadmium red and a little yellow for the main body of the apple, keeping it thin for this first layer. For the shadow side, I'll mix in a tiny bit of ultramarine blue. Notice I'm not using black for the shadow. Mixing a complementary color creates a much more natural looking shadow. I'll also block in the table surface and the background. Now, tip 18. Blend your edges. While that first layer is still wet, you can soften the transitions between light and shadow. Use a clean, dry brush to gently sweep over the edges where colors meet. This creates that soft, realistic look. You can have hard edges and soft edges in the same painting to create different effects and focal points. Tip 19. Add your details and highlights last. Now that our main forms are established, we can add the stem and the bright highlight. For the highlight, I'm using almost pure titanium white, applied thickly. This is our fattest layer, right on top. See how it instantly makes the apple look shiny and three-dimensional. That's the magic of working dark to light. And finally, our 20th, and perhaps most important tip, step back and look at your painting often. When you're up close, it's easy to lose perspective. Take a few steps back from your easel every 10 to 15 minutes. This will help you see the overall composition, check your values, and spot any mistakes you might have missed. And there you have it. A simple painted apple and 20 essential tips to get you started on your oil painting journey. Remember, the most crucial thing is to have fun and not be afraid to make mistakes. Every painting is a learning experience. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope these tips were helpful and made oil painting seem a little less scary. If you enjoyed this video and want more tutorials, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. Let me know in the comments which tip you found most useful, or if you have any questions. Happy painting, and I'll see you in the next one.